This is Joseph S. Samaniego, the author of the Carolingian Age series, and I am here with good friend Charlie Lynch, and we are going to have a discussion. Hopefully, be joined by another friend of ours. We'll see what happens. So, Charlie, why don't you go ahead and give us a quick introduction about yourself?
All right. Hello, everybody. This is my first YouTube video, I guess, at least officially, I think. I'm Charlie. I am a martial arts instructor. I love fantasy, science fiction, things of that nature. So I am more than honored to be in this video with Joseph, and hope we have some fun and just talk about whatever people are interested in, fantasy and science fiction, things of that nature. So I'm happy to be a part of the group, and let's have some fun.
Yep. So first off, something I ask everybody is, what really got you into the science fiction fantasy genre?
Looking back at when I was a kid, I was really into kind of the Power Rangers, Power Rangers, Japanese animation, things like that. I that's kind of what really got me into it. Obviously, anything like Superman, Batman, superheroes, people that are larger than life characters, people that they have powers, abilities, they are granted specific identities or whatever that make them somehow, I don't want to say greater, but more, special than the normal person. And, granted, I realize this is reality and we don't exist in that kind of environment, but just that, there's a possibility to be better than what you currently could be. And, the powers and obviously the, abilities that these people were afforded, which I always thought was very cool, because in everyday life, you don't see that. So for me, whether it's comic books, animation, cartoons, movies, superheroes in themselves, or people with powers that are otherworldly, I found was interesting. Plus, you can play with it. You can be more creative and more, you can create a world that is more is more diverse, is more fantastical than what the reality that you live in. And I always thought that was kind of cool.
Oh,
at
yeah,
least
definitely.
from my perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. World building is fun. I love it.
Yeah, it's challenging too, because you got your own laws of physics you got to obey, and I'm having that problem right now. So,
Yes. So, talk a little bit about, I guess, what you're working on right now, if you don't mind.
yeah, of course. What I'm working on is, in a giant nutshell, is I have this project I'm working on for the last 4 to 5 years, and it's a novel, or granted, it's 6 novels, um, two trilogies essentially. The first one involves a guy who essentially, if you look at Japanese culture, they call it the isekai genre, where a person is from one world and they end up in another. Now, it's not as lighthearted as some of them maybe. It's more grounded and a little bit more, it's still got magic and other races in it and things like that, but it's a lot more, mature in that respect in terms of violence and, challenges that this person faces. But the one I'm working on right now is essentially a sequel to that. It's this character, basically 20 years after his story ends, it's his daughter's story. And 15, 20 years roughly. And what I'm working on is her story, because with him, I got stuck. And so basically it's her story growing up in this world where she doesn't know who her parents are. She's adopted. She has an adoptive family. She cares for very much, but she doesn't know who her biological parents are. So essentially it's her journey trying to figure out who they are and what it means for the greater world that she lives in. Obviously, if I went into it in great detail, it'd take a couple hours and I'd lose many people along the way, because I'm still developing as I go along.
Yeah, no, I understand.
As I'm sure many a writer can acclaim to. I have a general idea of how I want it to end and some big points along the way, but for the most part, as I'm writing it, it's kind of just, what I'm thinking about at the current time. So essentially, I'm writing her story first, and then I'll come back to his, because once I feel like I have her story fleshed out, his will kind of come with it, because I'll have some of the characters that were in the first one, or in his story, developed. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Characters that are in her story were in the first story as well. Some of them were. And so I'll have their backstory kind of developed as I finish hers. That way, it's kind of like the Star Wars trilogy. You look at 4, 5, and 6 were made first. 1, 2, 3 were made after the fact. It's kind of like that. I'd prefer them not to be published in that order. I'd prefer to his story be first, and then hers comes after the fact. But whatever I finish first is what I finish first. So it is science fiction. It is fantasy. There's magic, and there's action. There's love. There's death. There's war. One thing I've tried to steer away from, at least in my respect, is many novels, many books have orcs and fairies and dwarves and things like that. And I've tried to look through different cultures, different backgrounds, and different legends to come up with my own people and races. And that's proven obviously very challenging. I have the early stages of those designed, but there's more to go into it. So once I have the story kind of fleshed out, the characters I'll really dig into them. Because you look at elves and dwarves and stuff, a lot of them come from Germanic culture. Oh, look who's joined the party.
Being bombarded here.
Yeah, which is great. We just messaged him enough and he shows up. But no, I really like what other books have created. I like the elves, I like dwarves, but they've been used to death, and I want to come up with something new. And my hope is that when I've kind of finished the story, I really have a chance to develop those characters. And I'm going to try to make them unique enough that they're not equated to elves or dwarves, but we'll see how it works. So that's it in a nutshell. Look at that beard.
Oh man, that is a nice beard.
That man hasn't shaved in 3 weeks.
Dude, I'm catching the vapors.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
He got that stern expression on his face.
Is that manly beard too much for the audio there?
What's up, guys?
You
downloaded the Zoom on this phone and was having issues and stuff.
But I don't think well, anyways, but I'm going to say you got a full shaved head combined with like a lumberjack type beard there. I mean, have you been quarantining yourself for like 3 weeks now?
That's what happens. That's what happens when you're bored.
I mean, I'm shaved. I mean,
I trimmed mine up.
You must have been really bored for the last 3 weeks. Luckily, we got you on camera, so we can
make fun of you.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Nice.
So
looks good. Looks good.
Yeah. I love the shirt, by the way. I love the shirt.
There you go.
Yeah.
You wore that just for Charlie, didn't you?
Yeah.
There you go. So what's up? How are you guys holding up?
I'm alive. That's all I got.
Basic.
So what you up to?
Nothing. I lost track of time. I was binge watching the show.
I'm sure you were. What were you watching?
On Netflix it's called October Faction. And
I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. If you have Netflix, I suggest you watch it. It's think of it like 24. Remember that show 24?
Yeah.
Well, 24 with X-Files mixed in together with a little bit of drama.
Is that light new? That light? Did you get a new light there? Because it looked really nice there. The lamp up there.
You haven't seen The Office, right?
No, it was making fun of the fact that you dropped your phone.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's some what is it, like aquamarine green color there?
I know,
on
it's nice.
The walls.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah,
it's lovely.
It's a nice
got a whole new table.
Yeah, last time I was there, the office wasn't complete. That's nice.
Is that your reinvented man cave?
Yeah.
For now,
my man cave is presently empty. That's what it is.
So, well, before we get too deep into this, because we are actually recording, let me go ahead and introduce. So, for my handful of fans and followers out there, we got Julio Villacis with us. He, you might remember him from the very first fan interview. And Julio, introduce yourself real quick, or reintroduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, Julio. My name is Julio. Do you want my profession? I don't know
Sure.
what information you want. I'm a licensed therapist. So
So he's here.
working.
Really, he's here for us to,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of him being here.
Yeah, just unload our day on.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. This is gonna be a group. This is gonna be a group session now.
Yeah.
Online for everyone to see. Online for
Yep.
everyone to see.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So actually, you guys were talking about stuff like what you've been kind of watching, but Charlie, you mentioned about new kind of anime you were watching, and that reminded me. There's a game that I've had on my wish list, and I kind of want to know what you guys think about this. It's called Of Orcs and Men, and it's basically
A game?
Yeah, and you play as an orc. Again, and your enemies are humans, which is like, so it
I have not heard of
flips
it.
everything. So I mean, it's kind of like what do you guys think about like some of these new fantasy titles coming out with ever changing character development? You go like, even if you look at the new Onward, I mean, the new movie on Disney Plus that unfortunately couldn't make it in theaters because of the virus, but
Yeah.
you have these brand new characters coming out.
I mean, I haven't seen Onward. I know it stars Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, and I think, it sounds like a great movie. Obviously, I think in what tone do they make it? Obviously, I think Onward is more of a family-friendly film versus Orcs versus Humans, or is that the title of it?
Well, it's of Orcs and Men, so it's but it's basically
Orcs,
you're like an orc assassin going
I mean,
to kill the human king type of deal.
Yeah, I mean, I look at when you look at you look at the Revolutionary War and people talking about one man's terrorist and the man's freedom fighter. It's all about perspective. I mean, obviously it's a fantasy game, and it's not based in, at least from what we understand, in reality. So I mean, it sounds like a cool concept. I mean, hey, I played a bunch of games where I play the good guy all the way through, and then just for fun, I play the bad guy on another route. And I don't know if that's what the game is based on. I've never heard of it personally, but
that's the whole thing sounds like Fable, where you get to choose your destiny in a sense.
I couldn't play Fable, man. I bought it. It crashed. I returned it, bought a new copy, crashed again. I was done.
Wow.
I loved the game, what I played, but I was done after the second time I tried it because it kept crashing on me, and I was not going to deal with that anymore. So
yeah,
I love that game.
Oh,
Fable
awesome.
was an awesome game.
See, at least you got to play it. I got like 2 hours in, and I was it crashed on me.
What system did you have it on?
Xbox.
You still have the original Xbox or
360? I mean, 360 when it came out. Yeah, I mean,
I can let you borrow. When all this is over and we can meet back up again in person, I can let you borrow my copies.
I mean, I literally bought a copy, like a used copy. I took it home, played it, and I was enjoying it, and then it just crashed and froze my whole Xbox. I had to restart. Took it home, took it back, retraded it for a new one, got a new copy, froze again. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not gonna if the game freezes on me twice with 2 different discs, somebody messed up. So, yeah.
So all right, so we've kind of gotten into Julio's influences and whatnot, but definitely want to look at and Julio and I actually had a good conversation before about how fantasy and science fiction could help people in general, more than just as entertainment, but actually help them. But, going on, further on into this, what do you guys, right now we're in this really big change in our own realities. This is a new reality for us. I mean, what benefits could there be with the fantasy and science fiction genre, as far as, obviously I know a lot of us are introverts, but what could really be a benefit here with this?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, just the fact of that October faction, like I mentioned before, is a fantasy based on modern times, and I found myself just kind of engulfed in the storyline, and for a moment, I forgot what was going on in the real world because we're bombarded by so much news, a lot of negative news about this coronavirus that it could be overwhelming. It could be
Oh yeah.
overwhelming, and when I speak with a lot of these kids and sometimes with the parents, is sometimes we need a break from that. We need to kind of disconnect a little bit just to kind of reset ourselves. And for me, I like, watching shows geared towards fantasy and sci-fi. And that in itself is an escape just for a moment, you know. And even with the books itself, I mentioned this in our first interview, is that sometimes um, reading a good story and being part of that story um, is an experience that I do hope that a lot of people, have. There goes my earpiece. There goes my other earpiece. Hold on. I just lost my earpiece.
As he's searching for his earpieces there, you actually mentioned something about that too, about having that break from reality with what you were saying at the beginning, with science fiction and fantasy, right, Charlie?
Yeah, I know, and I definitely agree. Obviously, that's why we go to movies. That's why we, read, books that aren't based in realities, because we want a detachment from our current situation. To add on to what Julio was saying, I also think a good point of it is it holds up a mirror to our current life. People may, books may come out in 15, 20 years that put up a mirror to the experiences that people will feel during this epidemic and, the current economic turmoil and the impact it has on people's lives, and it may provide a unique perspective, for people that are not born yet, or for people that have lived through it and going, I didn't think about things that way.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, it's, I like when a book, TV show, movie, whatever it may be, shines a light on something that, like when you look at the news, it's all one perspective. Now, granted, whether you watch one side or the other, there's that perspective. But when you look at a book, especially science fiction, fantasy, whatever, it provides perspectives from multiple different angles. So you may think, oh, I resonate with this person at the start of the book, but when you look at the end of it, you go, I can see multiple facets of it. I can see why this person did this. I may not agree with it, but I get it.
Yeah.
And that's why one thing I like about, and that's true of crime genres or romances or whatever, but especially when it comes to science fiction and fantasy, those books can highlight certain issues, maybe not in the exact same context, but there are similarities that exist and that people can resonate with and be like, oh, I didn't think about it in that perspective, which is what I like. And I think, any good writer, or any good storyteller can hint at that without making it overtly, just making it really noticeable. They can make people think without actually going, oh, here it is right in your face kind of thing.
So that's pretty cool. That's good perspective on that too. That this could actually influence future masterpieces.
Ideally, hopefully not in the negative, more in the positive, but people take they will from anything.
It's not, and that's not unheard of. Obviously, Picasso was greatly influenced by the Spanish Civil War in the 1930s. So, it's a lot of great works of art could come from this, just from the creators and the creative mindset.
Yep.
So, to go into more of a lighthearted mode, what is something that you guys are looking forward to for the future of this genre? Like, what's something coming out? What's a book coming out, or a movie or something coming out that you've heard about that you're really looking forward to and just want to experience?
That's a good question. Books, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Julio, you got any ideas?
With books,
with anything, any.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big movie buff, Joseph. You know me.
Oh, yeah.
I love movies. I like going to movies, and I'm pretty much a big fan of the sci-fi, but also a big fan of those superheroes. I jumped on that bandwagon a long time ago, and I guess it comes to a lot of that investment, so many years of kind of watching those Marvel movies, and was really looking forward to watching Black Widow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we gotta wait till
And
November for that one.
we gotta wait till November.
So sad.
Well,
So sad.
I'm hoping that the Disney puts New Mutants on Disney Plus. Just go ahead and just give it to us. Give us what you got at this point.
Yes, I thought they were gonna do that.
They were finally
Disney
coming
Plus.
out with it, and then they kind of like, oh no, we can't do it now.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously the Marvel films are great. DC has gotten better. I saw Shazam and Aquaman recently, which I actually enjoyed. Shazam was much better than Aquaman. Aquaman was a little more bluster, a lot less substance for me personally. But I look at movies that like the Joker film, for example, with Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, that was amazing.
I thought it was amazing. I had friends who, I hated it. It wasn't true to DC Comics. I'm like, but that's the point, man. It's like, yes, it is not the Joker from Batman comics. It's a psychological look into not only Joker psychology, but into the psychology of greed and mental illness and stuff like that. And it was amazing in that respect. And that's what I loved about it.
And I mean, you got to think too that with movies like that, you're either going to love them or hate them.
Exactly.
They're very polar, and to be honest with you, I wasn't really a fan. But those type of that's not the first movie that I haven't been a fan of, and that's just part of cinema,
Yeah.
But like you said, there's a lot of people who liked it for those reasons. It's a type of movie that's really deep and intended to make you think. Intended to send that message, but yeah.
I thought the first hour was kind of slow, but once you get into it, like once the first hour passes and things start rolling, that's when I was like, wow, they really went just all in on this. I mean, that one scene, again, not to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but that one scene where he's in the apartment.
I think we're past the statute of limitations on that.
Yeah, you're probably right. But when he shoots that guy in the head, and then he just lets the other guy leave, and it's like, yeah, here, let me open the door. It's like he just killed the guy, and yet he's perfectly chill with just letting another guy go, and like, yeah, here, I got the lock for you, whatever. And it's just that scene for some reason just resonated with me. It's like the guy, he literally wasn't registering that this guy just watched him kill another person and was willing to let him go, like he didn't care. Which for me just spoke volumes about many issues in society, sure, but it was amazing film work, in my opinion. I could go into it for another 20 minutes, sure, but whatever. But this concept, granted, it's not like a Joker. People think the Joker is smart versus this Joker just kind of nuts. He just does what he does, which is fine. But I just enjoyed. It's a different take on a character, and that's what I liked about it. But I mean, look at you look at DC in general. Like all their stuff is Batman focused right now. There's so many other characters they could do. They could do so much more, and yet you got Birds of Prey, you got the new Batman, you got other things coming out. They're all Batman focused. I'm like, you got so much you can work with, and I feel like going off on a tangent, that's what they're not focusing on. They have so much character depth they can mine, and yet all they're doing is going back to Batman.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude. I hate to say it, but you're putting all your eggs in one basket. And yeah, some of the recent movies have worked out, but I want to see, like, I saw Shazam and I loved it. I thought it was great. It was fun. It was interesting. It was comedic. And, that's just my opinion. So
I think DC is doing very well on the animation part of it all.
Their animation
movies.
Yeah, heads and tails above Marvel. I mean, I don't know who runs which department, but the cinematic live action needs to take a page from DC animated and be like, hey, we got stories for you guys. And, because, Marvel could do just as good. They just don't. They put all their money in the live action, which is great. But, when you look at, Justice League War or, the Justice League Dark or, these animated films they've made, they're amazing and they're high quality and they're, they're not kid friendly. They're adult oriented.
And DC was always darker.
Yeah. But Marvel can be too. Marvel has the material to do it.
Yeah.
When you look at Demon in a Bottle with Iron Man, or you look at Marvel has potential to go darker, but obviously, when they look at their cinematic franchise, they got to go lighter.
Yeah.
Because they want to appeal to as big an audience as they can. And DC figures out that, they got to do the same thing because they're making money off of movies that are not so dark and brooding. You look at
I mean, that's true. I think I think what we've seen in the past with DC was always they made money on the darker Batman type films and the lighthearted Superman films. Superman was usually more lighthearted than Batman, even though both of them.
They should be.
To a point, yeah. I mean, both of them had kind of a commonality in the fact that they were orphans. It's just how they were orphaned.
Exactly.
So that's really where it starts to fork in the road for them. But yeah, Marvel has always been even back to the old Captain America film from 1989 or something, 1990.
Ooh, you're not talking about the one where he had the motorcycle, right?
I think that's the one.
That's a bad movie. I only saw clips, and that's a bad movie.
Is that the one that made Red Skull he was an Italian?
Yes.
Or something like that?
Yes.
I've never seen that part. I gotta watch that.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have to watch that for you. Yeah, now we're gonna have to watch that.
Oh my god.
You know what I was thinking about though here? With Zoom, we could actually do a D&D game.
I've never done it, so I'd
oh my god,
we could do it.
I need a handicap of 100 because I don't know what the hell I'd be doing. I mean, I game, I just don't know what I'd be doing.
I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Man, I haven't played D&D since I was 12.
At least you played.
Was it even out when you were 12, Julio?
When I was 12 years old was the last time I played D&D.
I mean, I don't even think D&D was out when you were 12. Wasn't that 1943 or something?
Damn.
Oh,
this conversation is over.
Hey,
you know what?
Julio exits the chat.
No. You know what I heard? I heard that they're I want to say it was Netflix or HBO that they're redoing the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I think.
Amazon.
No,
it's not the trilogy. They're doing kind of like the Second Age. So it's
Who cares?
Second Age.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
gotcha.
It's the Second Age. So it's like the stuff that happened when Sauron forged the ring, basically. I think.
That's horrible. No.
And if I'm not mistaken, he's not really a kid, but the guy from what are those movies? Maze Runner, I think, but he was in We Are the Millers.
I know who you're talking about.
He's
the blonde one.
Yeah, the blonde one. That
the young kid.
And We're the Millers, his junk got bit by a spider. That kid.
I don't remember seeing that part.
Yeah, no.
I think I would remember that too.
Where he's a drug smuggler. He smuggles weed, right? Yeah, because that's.
Well, all I know is the one the kid is hey, you guys are getting paid.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
He poses as the son. I mean, let's just eliminate.
Yeah, he poses. He was in the Maze Runner.
Yeah, that's the Maze Runner kid, and he's supposed to be in it, I think, but I haven't heard much talk about it right now.
Okay.
So, but yeah, they're making Amazon's doing that one, so I actually might pick up Amazon Prime just to watch that.
I have Amazon Prime, and they have some good stuff. I got HBO for a week, and I watched John Wick 3. I got Shazam, Aquaman. I watched a whole bunch of stuff. I watched the Detective Pikachu movie, which kind of hurt. I felt disappointed in some respects because I grew up with that, and it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. I still think they can make a decent video game movie. Sorry, I'm going off tangent here, but they need some quality storytelling with a video game movie.
So yeah, I grew up with we actually, when I was growing up, we had a D&D cartoon, Legend of Zelda cartoon. Gummy Bears was a fantasy type cartoon. So that's what I grew up with.
Netflix has a good series, Castlevania.
Yeah, I just finished season 3 of that. That is really good. I gotta do a review of that. It's not bad. Season 3 is not bad. It kind of took me for a loop on a couple of things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And definitely not for kids.
No.
But
no.
I mean,
and as someone who played the games, the games were not for kids either, even though we were 13, 14 years old playing, even younger playing them.
I played Castlevania on the first Game Boy. My mom, the big gray box with the purple button. I played Castlevania on that. I mean, obviously the 8-bit pixels didn't show much, but I don't know. There's certain games they could really do great movies of. One thing that comes to mind to me is Mass Effect. I don't know if you guys ever played
Oh,
that
I
one
love
before.
Mass Effect.
Dude, they could make that into a grade A movie.
I would rather see series now that Netflix and Amazon are doing their things. I'd rather see series though. Like let's
No,
draw
Mass
it
Effect
out.
series? Yeah, no, I agree. They could do like Mass Effect in and of itself is such a great game. They could just take the game and make a freaking movie or series, TV series out of it.
Oh yeah.
Make, season 1 is Mass Effect 1, season 2 is Mass Effect 2, season 3 is Mass Effect 3, whatever. People can argue about the ending. I mean, I get what people argue with, but that storytelling is so well done, so deep. You don't need to create lore. They have it all there for you. You just got to create it. You just got to make it, and you got to make it good. And
you can have Seth Green as the pilot still.
They need to.
You got to have Seth Green as Joker.
They need all the voice actors back as their characters. Yeah. If you don't have the guy playing Garrus being Garrus, I'm not going to watch the show.
Oh, that's just. I mean, I'm sure he's available. He's probably just still calibrating the weapons.
Thank you. Somebody gets that joke. Him and the guy that played Rex. See, I joked with somebody once. I said, the reason Mass Effect 3, honestly, is fresh to me is there's no Krogan to play with. I didn't have a Krogan, and that made me mad.
You might want to be careful when you're playing with Krogans, though.
Doesn't matter, dude. They had the best one-liners in the entire series. Rex in number 1, Grunt number 2, and then I joked that you just got a big dude with muscles in the third game, and he wasn't a Krogan, and that pissed me off.
And his personality was kind of flat a little bit in some of
James Vega? Yeah, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., funnily enough.
That would be funny. That would be kind of funny to have.
No, he is the voice actor that plays the character.
Yeah. Sorry, Julio. I think you're probably
He's like, who the hell are they talking about? What is?
We're going to have to get Julio.
No, there's an animation movie.
There is. I've never seen it. I'm curious about it.
And they've done a couple graphic novels. I got a couple of cool graphic novels with Liara, the Shadow Broker.
Yeah, no, she's a Shadow Broker in Mass Effect 2. You can make her, and she becomes the full Shadow Broker.
I think there's a DLC with her, too.
Right, no, the DLC is when she becomes, when you invade the Shadow. I just actually beat that mission like yesterday for the 17th time. I've beaten each game like 10 times. Trust me, I played that game more times than I could admit. Because the stories, and that's honestly what inspired me for the writing, is just the character development. Like you look at like each description for the races and like they're pages long. Like, I mean, they really delve into who they are as people and as a species. And that's what I love about it, is like, it's so, they had a team of writers for these people, and that's why Andromeda pissed me off, because they had so much to work with and they screwed it up.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, every time I try to play Andromeda on my PC, it just crashes.
I've beaten it.
I can't even play it at this point. I might try to go back in there, but
it's not bad. It's not bad. There are parts where you can like, all right, I feel like the Mass Effect vibe is there. There are other parts you're like, dude, I want to burn this disc and burn the system I'm playing it on, because it's just bad.
Yeah. Something that you mentioned is something that I'm looking forward to when it comes to if you really look into Netflix has a lot of good shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's one. I don't know if I mentioned this to you. There's one called Extinction. And I don't know if you've seen that. That might be something that you might want to kind of watch and review. Part of your blog. I think it's a sci-fi. It's a sci-fi movie. And it's really, my thing is about storytelling. Character development, like Charlie mentioned. I think sometimes a lot of things with the failure about video game adaptations to movies is that they're trying to rush it. They want to make the biggest buck they can. Look at this Unbound that's coming out with Tom Holland.
Yeah, you're here.
Yep. Oh, okay. You froze for a second, and it says that your time limit has just expired. I don't know.
Oh, I said it's been upgraded to unlimited, but.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Hey, Joe, you still on here?
I'm still on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I got something that said that too, and it was just like I hit OK, and it said you could extend your time or something.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Like I was
Anytime it
mentioning,
says
just
extend something, I always say okay. Just yes.
Julio, check out the Uncharted series with Tom Holland. They're doing the Uncharted, like the.
Uncharted. I called it Unbound. Sorry.
Okay.
Uncharted. Yeah,
Yeah.
Uncharted with Tom Holland is well, a lot of things that you mentioned before. A lot of the video game adaptations that they're trying to just make the big buck really fast and really not realizing that a good story and good character development what sells a movie and what expands the movie, and word of mouth goes around, and I just hope it's just not another summer blockbuster, another,
Right.
hey, we're gonna put out another movie and that's it, just because we got some big name actors on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the whole storytelling, and another thing is I mentioned with to Joe was Extinction in Netflix is a good sci-fi movie, and something with my wife, she says that it's, as long as the movie always has a twist or it like shocks her or surprises her, it's a good movie.
Extinction, is that the one with Natalie Portman?
No, I think that one's no. That's
Annihilation, right?
I think it's Annihilation is with Natalie Portman. Yeah, this was called Extinction, and it's on Netflix. It's
is
with that. You seen the movie Ant-Man?
Okay, yeah, with Michael Pena.
Michael Pena's in that movie.
I saw that, and I thought it was a really great concept. I thought the ending was actually decent. I just thought maybe the execution was a little off. But yeah, I enjoyed that movie, actually. I thought it was a lot of good concepts, a lot of cool ideas in there. Yeah, you're right.
It was a twist.
Yeah, it was very well done in that respect. I just think if they had plotted it a little differently, it could have been even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, like when you look at Uncharted, like I played all 4 games. They're amazing. I mean, they're some of the best games I've played in terms of story. And yet, like you said, if it's just a cash grab, you're wasting an opportunity. There's video games. I mean, yes, some video games are crap and their stories are junk, but there's some games out there with high quality story, like hours and, months and years put into their storytelling. And if they play it that way, if they play it on the story, not on the just money grab, they can have a trilogy or whatever. Because, like Avatar, you guys ever seen the Avatar, the Nickelodeon TV show?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes.
So, obviously they made a really, really crappy M. Night Shyamalan movie years ago, but Netflix.
I actually liked it. I'm sorry.
You liked the movie?
Yes.
Oh my God. No.
I'm sorry.
All right. Putting that aside, because I can't concentrate on that right now. Netflix bought the rights to the show.
Yeah, I heard
and Netflix
about
is making a TV series about it. They're making, season 1 is like book 1. They're making the water chapter, then the earth chapter. So they're making it the way the show designers originally made it. Not like not granted, were the special effects decent in the movie? Yes. The martial arts was crap. The acting was I mean, like the guy that played Zuko wasn't bad, but I hated that movie so much. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It infuriates me.
Yeah, and I think they're keeping the ethnicity like really on point with this new Netflix show. So to really represent each region.
Mm-hmm. They even said that, like they made a point when they started marketing, saying we're not whitewashing this crap. Like when we spoke with the guys that made the show, and they're like, all right, what's this? What's the Fire Nation based off of? What's the Water Nation based off of? Like, what are their ethnicities? And he goes, all right, we're going to find people that fit that demographic, not for political correctness, because that's how they made the show. Like these guys did hours of research, to build these nations. And, I'm just, as long as it's quality made, I'm going to want to see it. Cause I mean, I just thought, based on what the show did or what the, based upon what the animation did, in terms of the fighting and just how well it was done, they can do good quality martial arts. They just got to get the people that know how to do it, because that was sad for me. It's like, they had all this bending, all these cool powers, and yet it just, the earth bending, for example, was just crap. I mean, it took 4 dudes to lift 1 brick. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's. I wasn't as into the cartoon until later on.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a lot at first. So I actually came into the cartoon after watching the film.
Yeah.
So.
It's like I saw an interview with somebody who did they interviewed somebody who did the Power Ranger TV. You know, like you guys see the Power Ranger movie?
No,
The latest one?
I haven't seen.
Yeah, like the new one they came out with like last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was okay. It wasn't bad. The suits were a little weird, but someone made a point the other day is that like, you know, the Power Rangers are cool, but they're also campy. That's like kind of the point. Like they're not supposed to be fully like, you know, really serious and really, you know, authoritative. They kind of have a joke to them, and yet they made this movie, and it's like, yeah, they kind of went really serious and really, you know. But you know, it wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't what I, you know, when I think of Power Rangers, it's a little too serious for what I was thinking. So,
Yeah. Did you guys see Bloodshot?
no. Did you see it?
Yeah. Oh,
I heard it was horrible.
It's a terrible, terrible movie. When I first saw nothing, Vin Diesel has his, I guess, he could be cast with certain movies, right? He was not the perfect choice for this movie. He's one-dimensional. I have no idea.
I thought he like financed it or something. I thought he had some kind of role in getting it.
I like him in certain things, but yeah, you're right. There's other movies where he's way too.
Well, I'm glad they're actually making a Last Witch Hunter sequel because I like that.
Which one?
The Last Witch Hunter.
I don't know that one.
So it's Vin Diesel, Michael Caine, and he's like an immortal witch hunter, hunting witches.
Speaking of witches, have you guys seen The Witcher?
Yeah. Oh yeah, great show.
What'd you think?
I loved it. It was a great show.
Okay.
Henry Cavill, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw like the third. See, I'm not familiar with the Witcher series, to be honest with you. And I was really confused. For the fact that how they filmed this movie.
You got to watch the whole series because in the end, towards the end of the series is when of this season, you really get the idea of the time, how the timelines work. Because it's 3 timelines. And
exactly, and I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, there's 3 different timelines. There's the Witcher's timeline. There's God, I can't even think of the people's names now. And
Yennefer.
Yeah, Yennefer's timeline, and so the 3 different timelines are all like Yennefer is really the first timeline, and then it just kind of goes from there until what's the modern time, and they said the next season won't have that issue. Okay. But this season it did because they just had to introduce everybody. It was like what we were talking about earlier, the whole introduction of everybody coming through. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, if you played the games but didn't read the books, you're kind of, you got a little bit of knowledge, but you're going to be playing catch up a lot. Okay. Or you'll think that the series is going to play catch up to you when in reality you just didn't catch the books. So
yeah, I haven't read the books. I mean, I
read a couple of them. So the series itself is pretty good standalone, in my opinion.
I mean, I played Witcher 3. I've liked it. I haven't beaten the game because it's just there's so much to do, and it's one of those games that I played Tomb Raider, played Mass Effect, but like you look at like games like Skyrim or The Witcher, and there's hundreds of hours.
It's almost never ended. Yeah.
Right, and that's great, but it's like sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm kind of. I want this game to end at some point, not that I don't appreciate the quality they put into it. I definitely do, but I'm like, come on, man, Mass Effect, I can beat it in 60 hours. Like if I put in the time, I know what I need to do everything. Yeah. But you can replay it. You can play as different people. You can do different things, but you still get quality gameplay versus like Skyrim. I've heard people put in 300 hours to beat that game.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I still have not done everything in Skyrim. And I've had it for 7, 8, 9 years now. I can't remember. I don't know how long it's been since I bought it. I bought it like after a year after it was out or something, and still haven't beat it like completely.
But that's my thing though. It's too much. Sorry, Julio. I mean to interrupt you.
No, well, I did. I meant to interrupt you.
No, I mean, I didn't realize it was that much of a gameplay for that Skyrim, you know, and
Oh yeah.
yeah,
And then the
I haven't
mods.
played in the mods too.
Oh my God,
You
the mods.
see, my thing is about video games is that I want to play it. I just, Sebastian, he
But you
likes
have a
his.
life. That's just it. You have a life.
You have a purpose.
I actually have a life as well,
life.
and yet I play games.
So you both have
Well,
children.
I would
don't,
love to play
so-
games.
Oh yeah.
I would love to play games. I'm just waiting for the PlayStation 5 to come out. I hope at the end of this year.
Yeah, we'll see about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I just want a new Mass Effect, to be honest. I just
Oh.
want a Mass Effect that lives up to the first three, because I played Andromeda, and it wasn't bad. But based upon the first three that they made, and people bitch about the third game, I'm like, you know what?
I like the third one.
Man.
The third one was good.
The third one was amazing.
Yeah.
People only bitch about the ending. I never heard anything else about the rest of the game. It's
It was
just
a
the last 5
go
minutes.
down with your guns blazing glory type of ending.
Right, but people don't realize is that there are actually 27 endings to that game.
I didn't
It's
know it was that
how
bad.
you choose. No, because you have your Renegade, your Paragon, and your
Yeah.
Synthesis option. But depending on how well you prepared for that ending,
Oh yeah.
also impacts your ending. Like
And I know if you
didn't
did
prepare at all,
multiplayer, that actually
people
added
die.
to, that could
Right.
add it to that too. And I would love another Mass Effect, another Dragon Age game, which I heard they are working
Well,
on.
they're making a new Dragon Age. They have Dragon Age 4 coming out in a couple years, and I feel like Mass Effect is coming. The new Mass Effect is coming out after the fact.
I mean, they were kind of hand in hand. Those two games were kind of hand in hand with releases and updates and things, because a lot of your fan base was the same for both of those games.
But EA doesn't let them do their projects. EA is
No.
Bioware not the problem. It's EA. EA is the ultimate crapshoot. Like, they don't let designers do what they want to do.
They focus too much on sports games, and that's really what it is.
No, well, that too, but I also think the fact that they just like, all right, we want this game done. Like, we don't give a crap. We just want to make money. It's like, well, if you look at like, the guys that made Red Dead Redemption 2, those guys put 6 years into that game. And it was one of the highest grossing games they ever made. And yet, if EA just lets their people do what they do and have an idea, like, all right, you guys know what you want to do, you have a plan, let's make a good game. If they made less games, but they made higher quality games, they'll get their money worth. They just have to shut up and let the developers do what they want to do.
Definitely.
Like, I'm not saying EA doesn't want to make money, and we want them to make money to make more games, but if they can't shut up and let the developers do their thing, there's no point in them making games. They might as well just shut up and, disappear, because BioWare did fine before EA bought them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean.
All right. Well, we're coming up on almost an hour here.
Yep.
So I say let's table this and come back. But yeah, let's actually look into a whole like Dungeons and Dragons or some kind of game.
You guys got to teach me, because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
Don't worry. Just be like, your first time playing pool or poker with us.
So you kick my ass.
Hey, so that means that we have to go by what's we call it, a level of trust here when we're rolling the dice.
So I need a handicap.
Well, no, you can just move the camera. See.
Okay.
That didn't feel good.
Yeah. That's well. As long as I get a handicap of some sort, because I have no idea how it's played.
Oh yeah, we'll
I mean, I'm game to play. I just don't know what I'd be doing unless we could do like a virtual, like Julio said, like or you just knock the camera down a bit to show.
Well, I'll go ahead and end this. But thanks for watching. Again, this has been Joseph S. Samaniego, the author of Carolingian Age series. Can't even say my own books right now. With Charlie Lynch and Julio Villacis, and we'll see you again next time.